We play and call it work.
Hey folks, Janene from MiniWarGaming here with another how-to video for ya. In today's video, we're going to continue painting this Skarre Queen of the Broken Coast model. And we're going to begin painting her jacket. Now I'm going to paint this like a brown leather trench coat that's been really scratched and beat up. As always, if you have suggestions for what you'd like to see in future how-to videos, go ahead and leave them down below in the comments. The first color we're going to use is going to be Dryad Bark, and I'm going to apply this as a heavy dry brush to the jacket. Now this can be kind of a sloppy dry brush. Our main goal here is making sure that we catch the top edges with this brown color, not necessarily making sure that we do it super smooth. Any roughness will just kind of add to the dingy look of the jacket itself. This is just a quick way to build up the color on top of the black that we've got on the model already. Now I did mention in a previous video that this model was airbrushed with some matte black paint before I started painting on it, so that's what we've got as our base coat. I want to make sure that I get the underside of the jacket as well as the arms, and then I'm going to switch to a smaller dry brush to get the area around the skin that we've already painted, the collar and the lapels. I want to make sure that they all get good coverage, but I don't want to slop over onto anything that we've already completed. Here you can see the jacket after I'm done dry brushing. I went ahead and did a couple of layers just to make sure that I built up that color to the level that I wanted. But you can see that there's still a little bit of black hanging out in the deepest folds of the jacket. The next color is going to be Still Legion Drab. And since this isn't a dry brush layer, I'm going to go ahead and mix it with a little bit of Lamian Medium, which is what I'm going to do with all of the rest of my colors for this tutorial. So I'm just dipping my brush into the pot and putting a dab or two into my paint, mixing it up so that it's got a nice consistency. And we're going to use this color to start creating a little bit of a textured look on the jacket. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take my fine detail brush and I'm just going to start painting different shapes next to each other. So circles, squares, triangles. I'm doing my best to keep things from becoming regular. And I'm not going to do this over the entirety of the leather jacket because I don't want it to look too busy, and it would be very overwhelming if the whole thing were covered in this kind of mottled look. So I'm really going to be focusing on the areas that I would be highlighting right now if I were just painting this more traditionally. And then I'm also going to be focusing on the edges of the jacket because this was sculpted with torn edges, so I want to make sure that those tears are brought out. Once we've kind of built up an area that has these weird random shapes in it, we're going to spend some time bisecting them with lines that we pull through the paint, and then we're also going to kind of dab our brush on the edges as well. This is going to contribute to a very chaotic, kind of natural looking texture versus keeping things too regular. And pulling our brush down is going to make it look more like torn leather versus just patterned leather. Here you can see the back of the jacket now that we're done with that first Still Legion layer. We also want to make sure we do the same thing to the arms, collar, and lapels of the jacket. Our next color is going to be Karak Stone, again mixed with just a little bit of Lamian Medium. Now we're going to use this color very similar to the way that we used the Still Legion Drab. The Still Legion Drab we used to create texture in the Dryad Bark color. And we're going to use this Karak Stone color to break up and create texture inside this Still Legion color. So again, we're just going to go in with a very fine detail brush, and in a very controlled manner, we're just going to create random shapes as well as scratches and dabs to kind of break things up and create a natural pattern. Now since this Karak Stone color is a lot brighter than the Still Legion color, we're not going to be too heavy-handed with this because if we are, it's going to get very busy very fast. Here's the model after we finish the scratches with the Karak Stone. You can see them on the front and the arms as well as the back of the jacket. We finished all the scratches and the weathering. We're going to do one final highlight with Screaming Skull. And we're going to be very sparing with this color. So we're just going to do one scratch here, a dab there. Just in picking out areas that we feel like could use a little bit more contrast, but not being too heavy-handed at all. And once the Screaming Skull layer is on, we're done with the weathering that we're going to do to this jacket. So the next thing we're going to do is kind of unify some of these colors together and make things look a little bit more cohesive. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back to our Steel Legion Drab, and we're going to use this color to highlight some of the folds of this jacket that we haven't scratched up. We're just going to paint this like a normal zenithal highlight, catching the areas that would be in the most sun. And we're going to pull that highlight all the way into the areas that we've scratched up to blend them kind of together. After we finish the Steel Legion highlight, we're going to apply some Seraphim Sepia. This is going to be very subtle because we're applying it over a very dark layer. But it's going to kind of tint all of our paints, kind of help them blend together. It's going to tone down the color of some of these scratches. And it's really going to unify everything and bring it together. I'm applying this mostly in the recesses of the folds, but I'm also making sure that I pull some of it into the scratches themselves. Here you can see the model after the jacket has been completed. It's certainly not the only way to paint weathered leather, but it gave me the effect I wanted for this particular model. So I'm going to go ahead and give her a twirl so you can see the front and the back. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more how-to videos, I have another one where I'm going to paint the chainmail on this Scar model in the MiniWarGaming vault, and the link down below in the description. If you don't already have a vault membership, go ahead and click the link. You can start a 7-day free trial and get access to my video as well as hundreds of other videos in the MiniWarGaming vault. So go ahead, click the link, start your free trial, and happy wargaming.